So according to rankings, according to Vegas odds, and according to an ESPN straw poll that was just done, it seems like Nikola Jokic is going to win his third MVP in 4 years. I think this is something we need to look into a little bit more because I'm just as surprised as some of y'all. It seems like during the entire year, we've had people like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic be the favorites to win the award. And to be fair, it made sense. These guys were having legendary seasons, both teams were doing pretty well for the most part, and then Jokic quietly has just stayed the course. Throughout the entire year, he's been very consistent, and so have the Denver Nuggets. And when it matters most, it seems like voters are leaning towards Nikola Jokic to win the award. Now, I feel like a lot of people see this and they're like, oh, Jokic, of course he's going to win his third MVP in 4 years. But I think this is something we need to talk about, and something I don't think you're comprehending. Nikola Jokic is set to win his third MVP in 4 seasons. And you could argue last year he was very deserving of a fourth. If Jokic wins the MVP this year, which it's looking more and more likely that it's going to happen, he would be one of now 9 players to win 3 MVPs in his career. I mean, he's joining a list of guys like Kareem, Bill Russell, MJ, Bron, Larry Bird. Like, these are some of the greatest players of all time. And Nikola Jokic is just casually joining this group out of nowhere. And I say out of nowhere because it seems like the entire year, nobody really talked about him to win MVP up until I'd say the last month of the season. With full transparency, I expected Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka Doncic to win the award. And honestly, I started leaning a little bit towards Luka because the Mavericks have been doing great lately. I mean, they're about to jump up to the 4th seed in the Western Conference. And you could argue that is the perfect sweet spot to give Luka Doncic MVP because he has the stats for it. I mean, we all knew he had the stats for it. He's the leading scorer in the league right now and is damn near averaging a triple-double. But what does Nikola Jokic do that makes him deserving of the award? So let's start off with stats. Does Nikola Jokic have the stats to win MVP? In the words of my great friend Spex After Hours, no shit Sherlock. Of course Nikola Jokic has the stats to win MVP. He always does. I mean, he's averaging 26, 12, and 9. In fact, fun fact, this is his second best scoring season if the season were to end today, which again, a lot of you probably didn't know that because Jokic has quietly been doing all of this. Okay, but what about his team? Is Denver doing well this year? Well, for being the defending champions, Denver is doing exactly as good as you might think. Currently, at the time recording this video, they're the 2nd seed right now in the Western Conference, but I want you to wait for a second because Denver is in a very weird spot when it comes to seeding. See, unlike the Eastern Conference where there is a 13-game difference, there is a 0 to 1 game difference between the 1 and 3 seed. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that within every single day, we could be having a game of Scrabble going on in seeding. Like the Nuggets, yeah, they're the 2nd seed right now, but technically tomorrow they could be the 1st, or in a couple days they could drop down to 3rd. Regardless of what I'm trying to say, there is a very good possibility that Denver is going to end the season as the 1st seed. And honestly, I think it's really just going to go down to who cares more about seeding. Like if Denver truly wants the 1st seed, I think they're gonna get it. If the Thunder absolutely want the 1st seed, I think they're gonna get it, and Minnesota, obviously the same thing. But the main point of all of this is just to point out that the Nuggets, they're fine with seeding, and they're gonna be a top seed by the end of the year. So Nikola Jokic not only has the stats, but he has the team success, so we can check off both of those boxes. So, okay, cool, Nikola Jokic is doing all these things to actually win the award, but what about the anti-narratives? Like, for example, voter fatigue. Shouldn't voters be sick of Nikola Jokic? I mean, for the past 4 years, this man has been consistently in the top 3 to win MVP. And I mean, the only reason he didn't win last year is probably due to the fact that Embiid just had the better season. But even then, it seemed like Jokic was gonna win the award for like 85% of the season up until he had like that small bad stretch of games. And then everyone was like, you know, let's give it to Embiid. And then they gave a bunch of reasons why. But still, the point I'm trying to make is that shouldn't voters be sick of this man? Shouldn't they be sick of hearing Nikola Jokic is gonna win MVP? I mean, I know if I was a voter and I was going off narrative, I'd be pretty annoyed at that. But it seems like nobody gives a shit. And honestly, that's pretty valid for Jokic. I mean, if we're giving it to the most valuable player, we can make the argument is for Jokic. I'm not saying he's not deserving of it, but I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit surprised that voter fatigue has not caught on for Jokic yet. I mean, when you think of some of the best players in the league, Steph Curry has only won 2 MVPs. Giannis has only won 2 MVPs. Even a guy like LeBron James, who's won 4 MVPs, the time he won MVPs, he won it back-to-back years. So if we're going off a timeline right now, this should be right around the time where Jokic stops getting considered for MVP. And it's not due to his stats, it's not due to how good he is, it is off pure just voter fatigue. Yet Jokic is such a good player, I think voters might just kind of ignore that because apparently Jokic is just that good. I mean, this is a very weird case study of a player. I mean, this is someone who technically plays the game as boring. He's someone who's big, he's fat, he's a center, yet he can do just about everything right except defense. Oh, and when I say his game is boring, don't actually think it's coming out of my mouth and I'm the one who's saying it's boring. I've made a ton of videos on this channel saying how much I love Jokic's game, so don't even fucking play that with me. But to a 10-year-old who's watching basketball for the dunks or for the 3-point shots, Jokic is not really their cup of tea. Oh my god, I sounded like 2 for 1 when I said that. Holy shit. But seriously, to the person that is a casual fan, they're not gonna find Jokic's game interesting. I mean, of course, when he has a crazy highlight like throwing up some bullshit 3 and it goes in, of course they're gonna find that cool. But generally, people are not going to look towards Jokic. It's a very weird case study of a player. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. I mean, for fuck's sake, this guy was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Like, that Nikola Jokic documentary is gonna go crazy in like 5 to 10 years. The only comparison I can think of is maybe Tim Duncan. I mean, because people call Tim Duncan boring. His nickname was literally the Big Fundamental. Yet this guy is arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But even then, I feel like him and Jokic are so polarly opposite. Did I use the word right? I don't know. Oh, and for anyone wondering, Tim Duncan only won 2 MVPs in his career. Now, I feel like this whole topic in itself perfectly transitions into narrative, because what narrative should Nikola Jokic have to win MVP other than, oh, he's good and so is his team? I mean, Shea, you could argue he's this young kid from OKC. They're this team that no one expected to be this good. He's having a crazy career season and it's something to talk about. Or you could say, hey, Luka Doncic, he's also doing great. He is leading this team to a great playoff spot and he is the leading scorer in basketball. Not to mention, just like Jokic, he's almost averaging a triple-double. And hell, if you want to go further, we could talk about Giannis being like, hey, Giannis, he's dealt with a lot of coaching changes this year. He's averaging this stats. The Bucks are doing this well. Even though, let's face it, the Bucks are not doing well right now. Shout out to Hood Genius, but they're cooked right now. So MVP, I don't think is really in the running for Giannis, especially because of the way they're treating him. Hey, I just made a video about that. Y'all should check that out. So in conclusion, I'm not saying that Jokic doesn't deserve the award, but I'm also not saying if I was a voter that Jokic was my vote to win MVP. Now, if I was voting off who I thought had the best chance, I think Jokic would be up there. But if I was voting off who I thought should win MVP, well, you guys are gonna have to wait in a couple weeks for a very big video I have coming live. And speaking of that video, in the entire month of April, I have an announcement that I've been wanting to make. The entire month of April, I'm gonna be dedicating to the Salvation Army. We're gonna be doing a big fundraiser for that charity. The Salvation Army means a lot to me and I want to do something dope for them, and I feel like the month of April was the perfect time to do it. Every single video in the month of April, we're going to be trying to raise money for that charity, and seriously, if you guys can donate, it would mean the world, and if you can't, it's all good. The support is still appreciated though. If you guys do actually want to donate, there should be an option on the bottom of the screen or the side of the video. It just really depends on if you're on mobile or desktop, but it should be not that hard to find. And also, I'm going to put a link in the description below, and I'll also put it in the pinned comment. And for anyone that donates, whether it's $100 or $1, I'm going to be shouting you out at the end of one of my videos. Our goal is to raise about $1,000 for the Salvation Army within the month of April, and honestly, I've never done a fundraiser like this, so I really want to see how it goes. And if this goes great, then this is definitely something I'm gonna try to do in the future. I always told myself if I had a platform, I would try to do shit like this, and here we are. It is also because of this event that I have a very big video coming sometime in the middle of April. I don't want to say too much about it, but just know it is gonna have some of your favorite NBA YouTubers in this video. Again, if you want to donate, there should be an option to donate. It is through YouTube, so it's gonna go directly to the fundraiser, or if you don't see that, then just click one of the links in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you all for the support. I am very excited to do this, and let's raise some fucking money, man.